Today I'm gonna give you a few very useful tips on how to build the ultimate adventure motorcycle that will help you do it with minimum costs and maximum efficiency. I have to inform you, this video is going to be long. So if you're here for a short 5 minutes advice, I'm really sorry, but you have to find something else. To the rest of you who really want to know the secret and have time, please keep watching because I'm gonna tell you everything. Stay with me. Welcome back. Why should you trust me or listen to what I'm about to say? Well, you don't have to. You can stop this video right now and go to your local dealer. I'm sure that he will tell you everything that you will like to hear, even though he probably never been on a real adventure trip before. He will point you out many pointless items that will cost you thousands of dollars and will only add dead weight on your motorcycle. Believe it or not, but some of them will compromise reliability and safety as well. You might say that I'm too critical or too harsh, but what I have seen and continue to see with the preparation of some future travelers, future adventurers, is just beyond my mind. I don't know who gave them this advice, but it looks like everything is wrong. It is happening very often to meet other travelers here in my hometown, Varna, Bulgaria. And usually they say, "Oh, hi Pavlin, nice to meet you. I'm a big fan of your channel. I watched all of your videos. I listened to everything you want to say. Great job, great quality. You helped me a lot. Thank you very much." And then I look on his motorcycle. It's like a 300 kilograms elephant that comes from Touratech factory. I'm not saying that Touratech products are bad, but you don't need to buy the whole catalog. For me, it looks like he has seen all of my videos, but never really understood them. So it should be my fault. Probably I did not explain it properly. Maybe because of my language or the way I talk. I don't know. That's why I'll try it once again. In this video, I'm gonna tell you once again what is important, what you have to focus on, and what will just waste your money. Many people watch my channel and they know who I am. But for those who don't know me, my name is Pavlin and I'm a motorcycle traveler. I have been riding motorcycles since 1988 when I was 14 years old. I started traveling with motorcycles in 2009, around 15-16 years ago, and never stopped after that. For the last 15 years I have been to more than 70 countries and 5 different continents. I have seen the whole Europe and got the chance to ride almost all possible adventure motorcycles on the market. I have also ridden to some of the most challenging terrains like Morocco, Turkey, Georgia and the whole Central Asia, including Azerbaijan and Turkmenistan. I was the first motorcyclist who ever crossed the Caspian Sea by ferry. I have been in Mongolia, North Pakistan, Ladakh, India, Nepal and Bangladesh. By the way, I was also the first Western motorcyclist who ever entered in Bangladesh. I even went to Magadan, the Road of Bones last year, and became the first person who rode Tenere 700 all the way from Europe to Magadan and back completely alone. All of my trips are very well documented on my channel. I'm not saying all of this to show you what kind of great adventurer I am. No, absolutely not. It is just to prove you that I have some experience and I'm ready to share with you, of course, if you like to listen it. Alright, enough talks, let me now tell you the tips that I have promised. The very first thing that you have to understand or accept is that the correct motorcycle choice is everything. It is true that any motorcycle could be converted to a real adventure machine, but the money and the efforts that you're gonna spend are not going to match with the final efficiency of the model. It will be way different. So you will have something, but not exactly. Every motorcycle has some important components: frame, wheels, suspension, engine and electronics. And they all work together as a team in synchron, and they need to provide maximum comfort and safety at the same time, right? You have to understand that every time when you decided to change something, to change some of these components on your motorcycle, you're risking to change the whole ergonomics of the motorcycle, because it is built with a specific purpose, to be ridden on specific terrain. Every motorcycle has a purpose. For example, dirt bikes are not good on the street and street bikes are not good on the dirt. Another good example are people who start with wrong motorcycles and then try to convert it to something else. And they are ready to spend $2, $3, $4, $5,000 for different wheels, suspension, electronics to convert it to a real travel machine. But will it be better to spend this money in advance? Let's say spend $3,000 more and buy the correct motorcycle right from the beginning. Then all of these changes won't be necessary. Let me give you another good example. For that purpose, I'm going to use my motorcycle, but it could be applied to any brand and model. If I bought Yamaha Super Tenere 1200 instead of this Tenere 700, I would have been starting with a weight of 260 kilograms. This might be manageable if you ride only on the road, but on the dirt roads, it is going to be just too much, and it doesn't matter how hard I'm trying or how much money I'm spending, I won't be able to minimize that weight, because the most heavy part of this model were the frame, the wheels, the engine, so the battle is going to be already lost. Or if you decided to buy a motorcycle with crappy suspension, let's say conventional forks, not upside down like this, the normal forks, when the heavy part or the fat part is here, and here is the shiny part. You wouldn't be able to do much with these forks. On the other hand, if you have upside down forks like this Tenere, you can change the springs inside like I did it, and now the difference is huge. It's like a brand new motorcycle. Here you might say that it is not a problem to change the springs on any forks, and that's true. But the result is not going to be the same, because when you have these upside down forks, when this thicker part is very close to the triple clamp and handlebar, you have direct connection with the front wheel, and the handling is way better. And that's why, as I said, you can do it on any forks, anything, but you're not gonna have the same result. For more information, you can Google it and you'll understand what I mean. Do you remember the foundations, frame, wheels, suspension, engine and electronics? Let's start with wheels and frame. You have to buy a motorcycle that is designed to be ridden on and off-road, which is mean 21-inch front wheel and 17 or 18 on the back. This combination will give you the chance to ride it on any terrain on and off-road with minimum efforts. Weight will depend on your size and your strength, but I won't recommend looking for bikes heavier than 200-220 kilograms, because by the time you finish with all modifications, it will be 240-250 kilograms. Also, make sure that you're able to have flat feet on the ground. I said maximum 200-220 kilograms, but it doesn't mean that you cannot go lighter. The lighter you are, the better. But if you're a big guy like me, I'm 185, 100 kilograms, with all of my gear I'm like 110 kilograms, I won't feel comfortable on a motorcycle that is 150 kilograms, because it will be too small for me. It is not going to match ergonomically for my size. I won't feel comfortable to ride it for thousands of kilometers. That's why, in my opinion, or my choice is this 200 kilograms, which is manageable weight. I can handle it, I can control it, I can lift it if I need to. And you have to think exactly like this to find a proper weight for you. Remember what I told you earlier about the changes and their costs. As you know, one of my favorite phrases is the weight always matters, because it really does. Don't be fooled by dealers or any kind of offers that tell you that you need this oversized tank, luggage racks and this and that, because all of these so-called adventure needs or adventure modifications or adventure packages will only add weight on your motorcycle and on your wallet as well. When I said oversized tank, I remember that this will be probably one of the first advice that you're gonna receive when you decided to buy a motorcycle. Everyone will tell you, you need a 20, 22 liter, 25, maybe 30 liters, it's better to have. I have seen people having 40 liters of petrol on KTM 990. Do you know how heavy is this petrol tank? And if you can tell me right now to close your eyes and tell me a straight line without petrol station for more than 400 kilometers, you'll be one of the few people that are able to do it. Because on all of these places that I have been, I faced places without petrol stations only a few times, and the distance was something like 400-450 kilometers. And this distance is easy manageable with a simple petrol can. 2 weeks ago, I had a conversation with an Irish guy on this topic because he has exactly what I said, 990 with 40 liters of petrol. And when we talk about it, when I said my arguments, he said, yeah, you're right, but on some places where petrol is cheap, I can fill these 40 liters and I'll save a lot of money. I said, well, what kind of money are you gonna save? You paid all of this money in advance to buy this expensive tank. And how many times or how many places around the world you can fill with cheap petrol? Man, it's just a... Number two will be the engine or the power that it delivers. Someone said that 15 horsepower are more than enough to see the whole world. I won't be that critical because the power means different for different people, but I will say that reliability is equal to everyone. I don't think that you will find a people that would like to spend 3, 4 or 10 times per year in the garage because their motorcycles are not reliable. Also, you have to know that when we have, let's say, a similar size motorcycle, 2 cylinders, the same cubic centimeters, let's say 700, one of them delivers 100 horsepower, the second delivers 60 or 70, you have to know that this power needs to come from somewhere. It's coming from a cheap tuning or some kind of electronic boosting of the power, or with a light materials, or with some power boosters or power commanders, something like that. And in each one of these situations, they will compromise reliability because there is no other way to have the same engine but different power. Number 3 is going to be suspension. As I told you, there are some models that could be improved without wasting so much money. Focus on it and you'll have a maximum efficiency with minimum costs. Number 4 is going to be electronics. My advice will be as minimum as possible, but nowadays riders are more focused on cruise and traction controls instead of suspension and wheels, but there is nothing I can do about it. Okay, let's assume that you already got the right model, the correct model. What do you have to do to convert it to a real adventure machine? Or what kind of modifications do you really need? I will start with the ergonomics because the motorcycle needs to be comfortable, right? So you will need a tall windscreen. I'm fine with the stock windscreen, but I don't ride fast and I also film my trips. If I have a tall screen, it will block, let's say, 30% of my screen. That's why I prefer to ride with the stock screen. But if you want to have it taller, please do it so. But keep in mind that it doesn't matter how tall it is going to be or how wide it is going to be, you'll still have some buffeting here and there. You can also use some wind deflectors here that are adjustable. You can adjust the angle or everything here and here as well. As I said, I have seen many different variations, but your motorcycle is not Honda Goldwing and it will never be. Seat modification only if you need it. As you can see, I have the stock seat only with 3D mesh on the top. I have heard stories from people that saying that they cannot hold for more than 2 hours. For those guys, I have a question. Can you stay still on the most comfortable chair or sofa you have at home for more than 2 hours? Of course you cannot. On some stage you have to move. And this is a motorcycle. Also, this is an adventure type of motorcycle. What you're looking for. Any seat will be a problem on some stage. Try to adjust the handlebar, the clutch and the brake levers, foot pegs, gear shift, brake pedal, mirrors, and you might be surprised from the result. Until we're on the topic ergonomics, let me show you what kind of modifications I also have done. I chopped the tail. The original was up to here with indicators on the side. It was too big, too fragile. It was shaking like this, so I don't like it and remove it. I also moved the indicators here on just on the top. I think that this is better, and when I have my saddlebag like this, it is not a problem. Of course, it has some cons. Because it's short now, I have a lot of mud on my back. Even though I have here this piece as an extension, I still have more mud on my back compared to the original tail. But anyway, I like it. I recently added these wider foot pegs. They helped me ride for many hours in standing position without any problems. Already tested. Originally, the Tenere comes without these handles, comes without anything here. It looks very clean, but it is a problem when you need to move it around. That's why I have these handles here and this luggage rack. So now I have this complete finishing. And of course, as I said, this is very practical when you need to move it around, when you need to lift it on the center stand, or when you have a passenger, he or she will have a place to grab and hold. Because they are made from aluminum, they are very light. I don't think that they have more than 1 kilogram altogether. I also have this light and cheap fender extension that helps to move the mud and the water away from the engine and from my pants. When I travel, I use most of the time paper maps. That's why I have this a simple telephone holder here. In the case I need to find a specific address in the town, so I can just lock my telephone here and find the place. If the telephone needs power, I can charge it with the stock 12-volt socket. More about navigation, paper maps and telephones or anything that is on this topic, you can watch in this video here on the top. Let's now talk about suspension. Here you have to understand something very important. The stock suspension of any brand and model on the market is set for riders 70-80 kilograms. This basically means that if you're a heavy guy like me, you will always feel it softer. And it doesn't matter how many minutes or hours you're going to spend playing here with these features, compression and rebound, because it will be written somewhere fully adjustable suspension. You have compression and rebound here, you have compression and rebound on your fork, you might have even a preload screw here or on your front. It doesn't matter how much time you're gonna spend, it won't make such a big difference because the spring rate it's set for 70-80 kilograms. The difference will be huge or noticeable when you have springs exactly for your weight. And this is what I did with my Tenere. I changed the springs in the forks and on the shock absorber as well, and the difference become like a day and night. Another thing that many focus on is the suspension travel, or how much travel the suspension has. But once again, if you don't have the proper springs set for your weight, the suspension travel, it doesn't matter. Because if you're a heavy guy, when you sit on it, you will compress it and the suspension travel will be compromised. There is one term named sag. It's a term that's saying how much your motorcycle will compress with or without you. Static sag is when the motorcycle stays on its wheels without any weight, not on center stand, just on its own weight. And rider sag is when you're on it. More about it you can find on Google, it's too long for this video now. If you have a preload option on your forks, for example, Tenere Volt Raid has a preload, this model is without. You can preload a little bit the springs, you can make it a little bit stiffer front, and also you can make it on the rear. My rear suspension or the shock absorber has this preload screw here, so I can tighten it and make it a little bit harder. This will help a bit and will make the springs stiffer, but it is not going to work properly as it should with the proper springs, and also the suspension travel is going to be different. As I said, the only way or the proper way is to change the springs first, exactly for your weight, and then you can play with compression and rebound. Then you're gonna have a good result. Suspension is something that many people cannot really understand, and because of that, they're doing some mistakes. For example, a guy came to meet me here 2 weeks ago with a Yamaha Tenere 700 Volt Raid. And we discussed suspension, and he said, yeah, but now the Volt Raid has a much better suspension. It is Kayaba Fox 45 millimeters with different cartridge and longer suspension travel, and so on and so on. And I said, yeah, it is with 2 centimeters more suspension travel, but it is the same Kayaba forks as mine. He said, no way, it is 45 millimeters. I said, no, it is 43, exactly like mine. So we actually need to measure it and show it to him that he has exactly the same forks as mine, with one small difference, that it has 2 centimeters more suspension travel. But because I changed the springs of my Tenere, he is with the stock springs and he's a tall and heavy guy. Every time when he sits on his motorcycle, he compresses it so badly that the whole suspension that he has left is no more than, I'll say, 12 centimeters. In my situation, because I have these stiffer springs, I have more. So this is a big difference in suspension topic that, as I said, many people cannot understand. Let's now talk about protection. This is very important topic for many riders. So do whatever is good for you and whatever make you feel good or feel protected with your motorcycle. But always keep in mind that anything that you add on your motorcycle in terms of protection will add additional weight on it. It is not that bad, you might say, but if you have, for example, Tenere 700 and you add upper and lower crash guards, engine bush plate, heavy duty strong, center stand, and maybe a few more accessories, you will add an additional at least 25 kilograms on your motorcycle. I'm not saying that you have to be like me, but make sure that you add only the necessary protections. It is obvious that for some models like a BMW GSs, when the cylinder heads are here on the side, you definitely need some guards, but most of the models won't even touch it if they hit the ground. So you don't really need protection, or not that much protection. Also be careful what kind of crash guards you are buying, because they might cause more damages than real protection. I have seen many different options, like a brake reservoir protection, protection here on the rear side, even though you cannot have any chance to just to touch it because it's so hidden inside. Axle protection here, axle protection on the rear side, and so many different items, but most of them, in my opinion, are just pointless. But that's me. As you can see on my motorcycle, I have very strong bush plate, water pump protector, and hand guards. That's everything. But of course, this is my motorcycle, do whatever is good for you. Let's now talk about performance. Removing the catalytic converter, the whole generation or muffler, it's I will say you can do it only if you have a good reason for it, or a lot of money, extra money that you don't need it. Otherwise, it is not necessary in any way to have an adventure trip. And also, I think that by doing all of this, you will actually compromise reliability on long term. Not today, not tomorrow, but after hundreds of thousands of kilometers, you might have some problems, especially if you remove the catalytic converter. I changed my exhaust for one very specific reason. It is well-known Tenere 700 problem. It hits the ground every time I drop it on the right-hand side, and bending this bracket with this modification, I eliminate this problem. I still have my catalytic converter. I also have K&N filter that I plan to use for the entire life of my motorcycle, and recently even added a pre-filter to protect my engine when riding in dusty conditions. As you can see, I have a good reasons to do it. Any other electronics like power commander or some kind of engine tunings, I don't really need it because I am fine with the stock power. I know that anything that you do in this direction will have a long-term negative effect. Let's now talk about comfort, because this is a very important moment for every long-distance motorcycle traveler, right? But if you have done everything correctly, if you followed and did all the steps that I told you to find the correct motorcycle with the correct engine, to adjust the suspension or set it properly for you, now at the moment you're gonna have one very useful, practical and reliable motorcycle that will need just a little bit of adjustment and will be perfect for your trips. You'll still need to make some modifications, like to add heated grips to be able to ride it in the cold days, maybe 3D mesh on your seat, wider pegs, or a few small things that are not so expensive. But as I said, you're gonna have this ultimate machine that you'll be able to ride in comfort for thousands of kilometers. Any other modifications that you can find on the market are not necessary in any way and will only add an additional weight to your motorcycle. If you like things like cruise control, traction control, distance control, cornering ABS, maybe auxiliary lights or tubeless wheels, these are the things that you have to think in advance before you even purchase your motorcycle. So the best way, as I said in the beginning, is to find all of these features or extras already built in the motorcycle in its stock condition. In this situation, you don't need to pay extra weight and compromise reliability of the model. And now, come here closely. I will tell you a secret that was hidden from you for many years. The Adventure is a state of mind, not brand or model, and you can have it with anything. Thank you very much for coming so long on this video. Press like or dislike, whatever it deserves. I hope that it will help you at least one person. If you want to watch my travel videos, you can do it on my second channel, Motorcycle Adventures Life. Over there, once per week on Thursday, I upload videos from my trips. Now at the moment, videos from Magadan. On my third channel, Motorcycle Adventures Livestream, I upload pre-edited live streams once per week on Saturday. All the details will be in the description down below. See you next time. Ciao.